I don't know where you are, but I know where I am, and I'm doing this thing with the Galaxy's Edge podcast. And tonight we have our public show where we are digging deep into the weeds on everything going on with the Galaxy's Edge. My frequent co-host, Mr. Dark Ops 0117 Swordfish.
Hi.
Doing the kicking chicken. And then, of course, we have on special assignment, Chaos Actual.
In the house. I'd love to be here. Thank you guys for having me. It's there's times that I just feel like, you know what? No one knows who I am.
I don't think that's how that really goes.
And then they're like, oh, did you have something to do with Gene? I'm all, nah. That's, depending on which favorite character we killed this week, that's probably for the best.
Oh my God! There was that thing on Twitter the other day where somebody was calling you and Jason out for killing people.
But you know what? It's an honor to actually get to be part of something and talk with things that people love. So I'm here. I can't say I got answers, but I like to talk. You know me? I'm a wordy bastard.
That's kind of what the whole podcast thing goes. So we'll definitely use it. We have the Legion's certified public accountant, 0001 Omachi.
Number one. Always looking for number two. How's it going?
So you can kick them off the curb?
No, so they could be the intern or the associate.
I gotcha. J.R. Handley, author of The Reservist.
How are you doing today?
I don't know. They don't give me those answers early.
All I know is I'm still not over Major Owen, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to go Super Ninja and take out Chaos Actual.
Yeah, good luck with that.
JR.
What?
You know what I'm gonna say.
I do know it. I want you to say it anyway.
No one cares.
We have Dark Ops 87 Ornstein.
What's up?
And then rounding us out, we're going to be bringing people in and out of this noise. We're kind of rotating as people have questions. So if you got questions and you're in the green room, hit me up in the private chat and we'll get you in here. So real quick, Daniel. You know what I'm going to
What's
ask.
been going on Discord? Well,
that's how this usually runs.
Yeah.
I only want to be referred to as Swordfish from now on. There is no Daniel.
Swordfish. Daniel has died. No. Blasters and bangers. We've been seeing some more cursed gun images and some real cool stuff there. Me and Fen have been making homemade bread and seeing how that's going. That's been always fun. Tiberius has been doing some gaming in the PC gaming channel. He's tried getting some people into his Star Citizen group, and then he's been streaming pretty much nightly for Mission 22. And then Workout Bay, which is Ornstein's stomping grounds. That's where he's our head master over there. Is working with people like DO00 Ruckus, who is actually in the process of doing a 24-hour ruck. Yeah.
Wow.
He says 1 hour in, boys, 43 miles down, 22 to go. It's going to end up being more like 30 hours to make it back. Midnight is my 24-hour mark. There's no way I'm covering 22 miles in that time. But yeah, he's out there just rucking. So.
May I touch on each of these? Can I get a word in edgewise about myself?
Go for it, man.
Is that possible?
Do it.
Let's see. Rucking is awesome. I do it about 3 to 4 times a week. I love it. I once rucked 100 miles in 5 days when I was in a particular infantry unit. And it's probably my proudest achievement in the military. So that you can do it. Just dig down 22 miles, if they're numb, just forget about it. Put your mind somewhere else and have that mental certificate. Working out, I love working out. I do CrossFit once a week, do a bunch of stuff. That's fun. Gaming, right now I'm playing Battlefield, the new Battlefield. I dig that. That's fun, even though you die about every 5 seconds. What was the first topic? Making bread. Are you guys making bread because you, as I do, feel the impending collapse of the United States and you would like to make a nice sandwich?
You have a bread recipe? We need to compare notes.
Yeah.
I got a bread recipe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Everybody, raid Swordfish's house when you want a sandwich when it all goes sideways.
Now, speaking of Battlefield, we have
Yes.
Tiberius here. He's also streaming at the same time. Are you with us, Tiberius?
I am here. How are we?
Oh, just chilling like a villain.
Yeah.
Tiberius has been like super cool last month of doing Battlefield 2042 streams
Nice.
when they released it, and all the proceeds he was raising was going for Mission 22. He had this great logo on the running on the on his screen. It was tight, dude.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. That's awesome.
Hey, dude, I'm happy to do it. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Galaxy's Edge for a long time, and you guys kind of mentioned a little bit of the Star Citizen stuff going on too. I reached out to Jason a while back and asked him if it would be okay if I actually created the 131st Legion in Star Citizen, because I feel like there's a lot of potential going on there. And you know, getting involved with Mission 22, I have a lot of friends, family members that were in the military. I unfortunately was not able to because I tore my ACL about the time that I was thinking about going in, and I wasn't going to get accepted. So I decided that it would be kind of a goal of mine to just kind of support everybody that I know and everybody that I can. So getting involved in Mission 22 stuff was my pleasure. So
Yeah. Every soldier I know, we love it when people say that they support. That is sometimes as real as it gets, and so we totally appreciate that. And then games are such a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way to blow off stuff. I have always wanted to get into Star Citizen, but it's hard for me to resist the urge of shooting people in the face every afternoon. You know, just the cheap, easy, slutty thrills of Call of Duty. Like, take that, 10-year-old kid.
I have a really hard time like splitting my time, right? Because Star Citizen is one of those games that like it's really fun. It's more honestly for me, it's more fun alone because I don't have a whole lot of friends that'll actually play the game. But yeah, lately it's been between Battlefield, World War III, which is also in like an alpha stage, and then Star Citizen, and trying to get involved in those. And like you said, shooting people in the face is just one of those things that, you know, there's the cheap thrills are always there. So why not?
I don't know about one of the titles that you just mentioned, but you had me at World War III.
Yeah.
What is that?
If you've played Tarkov at all?
Nope.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. You'll have to look it up. It's a few like the gameplay is definitely Tarkov-esque as far as like the look and the feel of the game. But all it is first-person shooter created by I want to say a Russian studio, I believe. That's all they've done is taken like the Battlefield normal conquest mode and a team deathmatch, and those are the only two modes you got. But the gun customization is insane. Like the graphics for it. I'll be streaming it tonight too if you want to take a look at it. Sorry, shameless plug, but it's definitely one of those games that you know, the intricacies of customizing your weapon, and they're not futuristic weapons. It's everything is modern. So and there's no weird, you know, jetpacks and crap like that. You just go for it. It's a shooter, pure, plain and simple. So
I don't want to live in a world where you can't Frankenstein your AK-47 and shoot an 11-year-old kid in the face.
I've got an 8x sniper scope and a red dot canted sight on a M4. So there we go.
Oh, mama. As J.R. Handley loves to say, I would like to be alone in my bunk now.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Love it.
There's also
The
other.
only thing hotter than what you just said is all the weapons that are for sale in the Middle East currently that we used to own. That I follow this Twitter thing, and I just watch this guy sell all these weapons, and I'm all, I would kill for a paratrooper 248.
Yeah. It's like the crazy thing is like the amount of customization and the weapons that you can get in this game. It's not pay to win by any means. Yeah. It's pay to get into the alpha. I think it's like $15 or the beta. But from there on out, you earn what you get. You earn it based off of levels. You earn it based off of everything else, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
We should all just join the entire Legion and just go over there and just ruin a bunch of Russians.
I'd love it. Absolutely.
Bubba was saying that we also have a Destiny clan for anybody that's playing Destiny. It's under the same thing. It's 131st Legion clan on Bungie.net.
I played original Destiny. I liked it. It was
I played
fun.
that too. House of Glass.
Yeah. The world building was cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
All right.
So what?
All right,
what's gonna
that's
be
the podcast. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
Yeah, FQ
Wrap it
with the
up.
Questions.
Right on. So speaking of wrapping things up, I was just saying before the podcast, before you jumped in, Nick, because we were talking about the Book of Joe just landing on some of the digital purveyors, and yeah, I got a call from Joe's daughter, and apparently they want him handled because he's walking around the house all high and mighty right now. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty much the main character in this story. You know a main character, and it's me.
Yeah.
And they can't deal.
Yeah, everybody who's had a book written about them in the room for Thanksgiving, raise your hand. Oh, look, it's just me. I won't tell anybody the name of the book, but my dad had a book written about him. It was crazy. And because my dad was a French Foreign Legionnaire, and then he was a pilot in Africa. And he was so ashamed and embarrassed of that book because there were some crazy stories in there. And whenever we were like out with people, I would wait, and he'd be doing business, and I'd just be kind of watching. And then I'd be like, well, my dad's had a book written about him, and he would just look at me. He would just like look this murder look at me, and then these people would go and like find this obscure book and then read it and then just torment him. So he'll learn. Yeah, but you know what? Book of Joe is awesome, and Joe is awesome, and I think the guy that gave he read the book and then he came back and he talked, and this guy is a real deal guy from Afghanistan, Iraq. I think he commanded that same place that you used to run into, JR, on the supply run. That was really hot. Was it around Fallujah or something like that?
Yeah, the Sunni Triangle. It's probably off the Kundum.
Yeah, and he was balls deep in ammo there and just really hairy stuff. And he just said, you know what, Joe's the kind of sergeant that platoon leaders and captains wish, pray for. This is the kind of NCO of teach, mentoring, and leading and stuff like that. So I thought that was the kindest, nicest, highest compliment anybody can get. And yeah, old NCOs should walk around with their heads held high. The only mistake we made in the Book of Joe is not putting in the NCO's creed at the end. But I don't know that there actually is an Army NCO creed other than, like, rip it and liquor and leave me alone. And a pack of smoke.
Sounds about it.
I think there is a creed.
There is an NCO creed, yeah.
Yeah, but it's probably that one's the real one.
Right. Yeah, because the other one, the one that people have been forced into saying when they go through schools like WLC, BLC. For us, it was PLDC. It starts with I am an NCO. No one is more professional than I, and we all know that. I am an NCO. Do what I say and get me a rip it. Is much.
I think that was the second stanza.
yeah.
So, and to answer your question, Nick, they also called, if you hear Mortaritaville, that was another nickname for Al Taqundam because how often it got bombed.
Yeah. And so, real quick, well, who is Joe? I mean, how does he come to Forgotten Ruin?
Are you talking like the real
in
Joe?
Real
or
life.
are you
Yeah, in real life. Like,
so, Joe was one of the squad leaders that I had coming up, and he was one of those guys that when you heard about him, you were like, oh crap, I seriously hope I don't end up with that guy. Because you had the NCOs who were like, all right, go square your gear and the rest of your time is yours. Joe would be like, go square your gear and then find me. So you knew you were going to be busy no matter what. But then later on, when you look back on it, Joe was that dude that you learned the most. You really learned the most from, because he just had a way of imprinting. Because you'd have the NCO who was screaming at you because you knew, and you only come from like a basic training environment, then go through airborne school, then RIP, or now it's RASP, and you finally get to the regiment, and the whole time you've been yelled at, so it's the only way anybody knows how to deal with you. And Joe would just be like, hey, straighten that guy out, please. And you're just like, wait, did he talk to me like a human? I don't know how to deal with this, or you have one of your team leaders help you set up your gear, and he sticks his head in the room and goes, you good? You snap to parade rest, and he nods his head and stuff, and he's like, all right, be this place here tomorrow. 0630. We're not doing PT. We have other things to do. We're going to go for a walk.
And he made a huge impression on you.
Yeah, and just that, we were originally talking about the book. I told you about that walk. That walk was 80 kilometers.
Yeah.
And they bring you out the 50 miles and you walk back. And during that time, you're just being taught everything you need to know to succeed and thrive in that environment. And it was just wild.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that book because it's Rangers versus this monster, and Talker's going to talk about coffee and annoy everybody to death, and then there's going to be this love weird story, and then there's going to be magic, and then there's going to be Jabba Big, and the Forgotten Rune books are kind of like there is a formula to them, but you advance the story, but Jason and I always talk about Galaxy's Edge because you read Legionnaire and it's very much a war memoir book, and you've got that awesome section with Tyrus Rex at the end and stuff like that. And then you go to Galactic Outlaws, and Galactic Outlaws is kind of a weird departure in a certain way. And initially that was not well received, but Galactic Outlaws was the first book we were going to write. And then, we looked at our publishing model and we integrated the both, and then we led with Legionnaire, which Jason wrote a lot of, and then that was kind of what brought the Galaxy's Edge universe into being. But we got gigged hard on Galactic Outlaws, and then we got gigged hard on Kill Team, because initially people hated Tom and they hated the way that story was told, because it's told in the super pretentious second person present.
You are Tom.
Yeah, you're Tom. And Stephen King talks about that. He makes fun of that in The Stand, because there's this one really awful, fat, disgusting character who turns out to be evil, and he's sort of a snooty, pretentious writer. And he only tells, like Stephen King says, he's the kind of writer who only writes in second person. So I made the brilliant choice to do that. And it really wasn't received well at first, but then I think Tom began to resonate with people and stuff like that. So up until book 5, Jason and I were always leery of making strange choices, because we seemed to piss off people that when we did, but we knew where we were going and we knew all this stuff was important. And so it worked. Thanks to God, it all worked in the end. But even now, like when we make story choices, we're very careful about doing a radical departure like Book of Joe, which is really a coming of age wisdom tale. It's fun. It's exciting. There's lots of cool stuff in it, but at the same time, it's more of a personal novel. But I think after 4 books of the Rangers, Smoking the Dragon, Smoking the Lich, Fighting the Fortress, all these kinds of things, it was time to take a break and tell like what a lot of people in the Ranger community would say to Talker, which is you need to shut up and start Rangering now. Enough pretending. Either embrace it or get the fuck out. And that's what this book was. Sorry for using bad language.
We actually like the bad language.
Okay, we can do that.
Well, Jason wants us to keep it relatively PG-13, so however many F-bombs we've dropped, try to keep under 5. Oh, okay.
So, Legs had a quick question about convergence. Do you want to hit us with that?
Yeah, sure.
No.
He just dropped out. He's like,
all right.
me? Whoosh.
Well, I guess I'll jump into my question.
Well,
so
the answer
when
is
the Forgotten
one of the
Ruin?
Legionnaires is gay. No, just
Sorry. I
Hit the wrong button, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was trying to type it out first, and then I hit the wrong button, and then suddenly I was back to the home screen. I was like, oh! So, Nick, I know that you, if I remember correctly, you had a really big role in writing Prometheus's chapters. Is that correct?
Jason and I Jason and I really write everything together, and there's things that like we always try not to, say so that people, eventually Jason and I are going to get a divorce, and we don't want to lose all the children. We want all the children to know that we love them equally.
Very fair.
But both Jason and I have written Prometheus, yes. But I could probably answer your question. Prometheus is near and dear to my heart. I am Prometheus.
Prometheus's chapters in Convergence had a very different feel from his chapters in the Savage Worlds trilogy, and I loved having Prometheus back, but there seemed to be like a very distinct. I'm sorry, dang it, every time.
Thanks.
Is there something done in the oven? Is that the cake? Oh,
no, it's the spoilers part, and I always forget to say that first.
Spoiler.
So,
yeah,
in Convergence, the tone and the style have really changed, and I'm wondering how much of that is symbolic of the changes in the Uplifted and the Eternals and the Pantheon, and how much of it is just you're not in a COVID fever dream when you're writing it.
It was both of us worked on those chapters together. And it's consistent with Prometheus's worldview, which is established in Gods and Legionnaires, in which Prometheus constantly refines, updates, edits, and deletes his own history, and changes himself upcoming in the path. There's even a secret project that's kind of out there right now, but you'd have to look really hard to find it because it's under a different name. That's Prometheus. Except he's edited himself now to be someone completely different and a hero. So much to the point that he doesn't even know he's Prometheus. So it's in keeping and it's consistent. But Gods and Legionnaires is early Prometheus, and things are insane. So I think you should take the tone of that, but I think it's all in keeping with his character. Like now, if you had another character and it was like, say we took Tom and stuff like that, and suddenly Tom wasn't so kind of faded and melancholy, he was like more like Bowie, then that might say like, oh, this is because the writers were there or whatever. But Prometheus's different stylizations are because, like the reality is Prometheus is in a cult. Like the Savages are a cult. They're a series of cults, and they have cult thinking, and it's very much like when you look at cults and things like that. Every day the floor is lava, and you have to constantly be willing. Like the maximum of the cult is blessed are the flexible, for they shall not break. And you have to constantly be able to adapt to whatever new craziness is going to come along, so that you can continue to rise in the cult and stay in the cult. And that's half the game. It's emotional twister. And so that's where Prometheus is. Did I bullshit enough to get out of that answer?
A bit. Quick follow-up question. At the end, if that's okay. If not, sure. I can drop back.
No, I'm just joking.
At the end of the Savage Worlds trilogy, Prometheus links up with a group of Eternals that are not his gaming buddies that we come across in Convergence. They are a very special group of the Pantheon who is about more than kind of the prison we find Prometheus back in. And I'm being very careful with my words. Okay. But I was kind of surprised we didn't get any more of that, because it seemed like they were going places and they were doing stuff that was really crazy, especially for Prometheus and kind of where he was in his story in that trilogy. Right. And then we kind of came back to Prometheus in his virtual world. Right. And that was, are we going to get any more of that group, or is that kind of off the table?
No. Everything's on the table, and the story is going to go the way the story is going to go. But we have to go back to the events of Gods and Legionnaires, and we have to look at what was happening in that final battle, specifically with the Eternals. Now, Maestro tells Prometheus, you have a new trick that you can play. And remember, it's the possum trick. I'm being vague. So remember, The Eternals are sent on a one-way suicide mission to knock out that communication space. All of them die doing it, quote unquote die. Now a lot of them are outright slaughtered. Remember, that's a pretty horrific. They attack undersea. They blah blah blah. They go up through the Arctic. They have to fight. There's these huge choke points. The enemy literally sends down air defense artillery tanks just to wipe them out and stuff like that. And Prometheus does that weird last stand, and that's in Gods and Legionnaires. And then he plays possum. And remember, the goal that the Savages and mainly the Eternals under Lucifer's element were trying. Lucifer's element that they were trying to do was not necessarily beat the humans. It was to infect the other uplifted that were also combined arms invading that world. And they knew that if they could take over this data center, they could then... That's why at the end of the Savage Wars, we see much more harmonized Savage units. At the beginning of the Savage Wars, it's a bunch of cults. It's a bunch of barbarian tribes. And they're all different. Remember the guy with 8 screaming female heads? And then they're the color-coded Google people. Oh, Google. And they're all weird. They're all freaks. And it's established in the beginning of the Savage Wars that when the Savages haven't been sort of raping and looting worlds, they've been wailing on each other. And the reason that first battle in the Savage Wars is so important is because the Savages actually got together and took a world with the sole and intensive purpose of owning it instead of taking off back into the dark between the stars. That's the beginning of the Savage Wars. By the end of the Savage Wars, they are harmonized military units, much more like something out of Warhammer 40K. And Lucifer's plan was to take that world and download Maestro into everybody for sort of unit harmonization for effectiveness, but not really for that, because the Savages are control freaks. And so really it was for that faction to have control. That faction is still alive and well, as you're finding out in the current season. They just have a different name. But where we leave Prometheus in the last battle of the Savage Wars, which is what you're talking about, Prometheus is buried under a pile of rubble last time we checked. Prometheus's entire world is that he knows of, as we're finding out in the season later, is newish, and it's different, and there is some time dilation. But where we leave Prometheus at the end of the Savage Wars is he's buried under a pile of rubble at the battle for the reservoir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Just blew everybody's mind. The people talking in the chat like, I don't know what's going on. My world is fading away.
So a common question I've seen pop up pretty often in YouTube and in here, Forgotten Ruin 3 audiobook. What are we looking at for that? Like, right. Do we got any updates?
So we were working with a company called Findaway, and we still are. And I hate blaming things on COVID because I don't think it was COVID. I think they just dropped the ball. But they got that novel dropped on June 1st, and they got it, and we started telling our contact, hey, this novel's here. Do you need a pronunciation guide? Oh, no, we'll get to it and everything like that. We have to make a deal with Christopher Ryan Grant. Okay. We texted them again in July, and then finally August we got a call back. Oh, we've all been taking time out of the office. We can't get a hold of Christopher Ryan Grant. He's on vacation. September, we got really pissed off, and we found out that one of our audio producers from another thing has basically been jamming up all the studios and taking everybody's time and booking stuff. We actually think that's a direct assault on us, because the thing that Galaxy's Edge is doing that really no other indie authors are doing is we're actually producing our own content in-house now. So here's some behind-the-curtain stuff. When you want to produce an audiobook, you can either sell to Audible, which we have done, which is the Savage Wars, and they control that, and they give you some money up front, but then they keep the lion's share of the royalties, and really you don't make a lot of money. You could do a deal with an independent producer on ACX and split 50-50, and that's good. You make some money, but also that producer probably doesn't have the fire hose to turn on in marketing like Audible does. Or you could do a deal with an independent producer on ACX and split 50-50, and that good. You make some money, but also that producer probably doesn't have the fire hose to turn on in marketing like Audible does. Or you could do a deal with an independent producer on ACX and split 50-50, and that producer probably doesn't have the fire hose to turn on in marketing like Audible does. Or the Galaxy's Edge marketing machine is pretty good. Jason has really developed an awesome, outstanding machine. When you can produce the entire audiobook for yourself at significant cost, I think Forgotten Ruin was like $12,000. You then get to keep the lion's share of the royalties that you still kind of have to split with Amazon because it's their product, it's their platform that you put the book on. But you really get a lot more, and that Forgotten Ruin is what was our first test with that. We weren't sure it was going to be successful, and it's been wildly successful. So we've decided to produce as much of our own books in-house as we can. We have a new Wargate series dropping from Marsoc Marine Peter Nealon, and that's going to be just like Forgotten Ruin, modern soldiers in a fantasy setting with a perpetual taco machine, which is the Wargate philosophy. We have another series coming from Doc Spears, which is basically Special Forces green beanies on Mars. Walt says that is really excellent. He has read it. I know
It's super
Peter,
good.
yeah. So we are now expanding into producing our own content and working with our own studios. So Daniel asked a very simple answer, and long-winded bastard Nick Cole just kept rambling and talking. And the answer is 2 days ago.
It's coming.
Yeah, 2 days ago, book 3 was finished. It's now being final edited and QC'd, and I anticipate, I'm hoping, to have it up by the last half of this month. At the same time, Christopher Ryan Grant, who we call CRG because he's that cool, also recorded book 4, and we're hoping to launch that on January 1st, because why launch 2 books at the same time? Give it 30 days for the algorithm. And now book 5, Book of Joe, is done. So that's going to go, because now that audio producer got their shit straightened out, and now we have a new producer, and her name is Alita, and she's on it. She gets it done, and so far she's gotten it done really great. So they'll produce book 5. And then the next book, book 6, is currently being written. And Jason said, when do you want to put the production date up? And I'm all, March 1st. And Jason said, you really piss everybody off with the way that you write, and you're late. He's like, I'm just going to make it April 1st. I'm like, I like it March 1st because then it's a deadline and I got to make it. And he's all, March 1st because you're pissing everybody off. I'm like, whatevs. So I sham shield my way out of there. And it's probably going to be ready on March 1st. But Jason made it be April 1st. So it's not going to be that long. And I got to finish Strange Company 2 this month. And then that's off my plate. And then I can go into full-time Forgotten Ruin production. And what our goal is, probably by June, is dropping a new Forgotten Ruin book and audio every 2 months.
So it sounds to me like we're going to be getting some rapid-fire Forgotten Ruin books, like it's all just been backed up. Boner, I'm sorry, but
felt fed.
I'm sorry, buddy, but it seems like you and Bubba are not going to be able to do the impeccable voice acting that we were talking about in Discord.
But Boner had a question though, didn't he?
Yep.
No, that's okay. That's just what I wanted to clarify, is if I could audition for narrating the Forgotten Ruin books, and it looked like LS314 Grendel wanted to participate, and
you know what?
Looked like Sparky also said that they wanted to participate. So we could do a fan sub for you if you want.
I would like I would like to do this because that's more important to me than Christopher Ryan Grant, whom I love and is a great guy. I mean, kind of vaguely what I know, and he probably likes me because he doesn't really know anything about me. And I just say, whatever you do, don't go to Twitter, and everything will be great. Whatever you do, don't go there, CRG. And so far, he's stayed away from social media, so we're still friends. But like I just said, Galaxy's Edge and Wargate Publishing, which is a subsidiary of Galaxy's Edge, are now producing Wargate novels, which Walt is the editor-in-chief of Wargate. So we're now if you've got narration chops, and you know that I'm a narrator, right? Because you've listened to American Wasteland, right? And I'm pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
So if you could beat me, then we're producing all these other titles now from writers who want to write Wargate novels. Wargate novel is modern military unit, fantasy setting, perpetual taco machine. Then yeah, we could plug you in. We're going to do a Tanner novel short novella, and that's only going to be for insiders only, because Jason's goal this year is to, I hope I'm not talking out of school, make the insider subscription service go through the roof, as in we want to move away from Amazon. Just because reasons. My Twitter
Good.
account. But there's also good reasons. Not that I'm a dumpster fire, but we just feel like in this age, it's time to do our own thing, and so we want to have more content for insiders, and part of that is doing like shorts, like you're talking about, fan narrated shorts and things like that. So let's put together an audition tape and let's get it to Walt. And then if Walt think it passes muster, then he'll send it to me. And then I'll go have some coffee and I'll mouth off on my podcast about the conspiracy theories and the deep state. And then I'll make my Gumroad classes, like I made one today, about if you guys are interested in learning how to write books. I'm kind of teaching people over on Gumroad. And then like Medusa will be like, let's go get some salad. And I'll be like, okay, let's go get salad. And then I'll like listen to Alex Jones for a while, and then he'll just like break down blubbering in tears, and I'll be like, I can't take Alex Jones anymore. Let's listen to this guy's audition, and then if it's good, we'll do something. Does that help?
Yeah, I would. If you have a piece that you would like to have a fan narrate, I would be delighted to audition for that. Sure.
All right, we can put that together. Walt, you understand the terms of the deal there. Write something. No, I'm joking.
Well, you understand the terms of the deal. You don't get a pay raise and more work,
Pay?
right?
Wait, pay? Yeah.
Pretty sure I'm paying to
Walt,
be
you didn't
here,
hear
guys.
anything about pay.
Well, if you need a budget, you know a guy.
Gotta put it in there, Omar.
No, I love it. I think that's brilliant, and thank you for wanting to even do that. I think we can do something. I think it could be fun. Let's try.
So Boner,
Cool.
get with me when we're not broadcasting, and hit me up, and we'll set this all up.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Right on.
And
So-
yes, Walt, we're going to pay you.
I don't know how to respond.
Now,
to that.
but now that I said that, everybody's going to borrow money off you. So, Walt,
Hey, Walt, can I have some of your cut?
Yeah. I'm going to pay you in kibble.
Nice.
So
That's
Nick,
a step up from nothing.
Go ahead, Jr.
Everybody
you-
knows that if you can find me and you have your coin, I will buy you the biggest steak you ever had and the best steak you ever had and very good scotch. But you have to be able to find me and you have to have your coin.
And you have to run the gamut
you-
of his sniper tower. But you
Instead
know.
of buying it, can you just describe the steak to me?
I can do that.
Just
I
describe
can
it
do
to me.
that.
So with the Forgotten
No one
Ruin,
cares, JR.
I mean, your fans might. So you have the patch that you give for outstanding service within the Galaxy's Edge community. Are you going to do something equivalent for the Forgotten Ruin community?
With what?
Do you have your patch available, Swordfish? Because you got yours
Oh,
on your hat for a
yeah.
while.
Oh, you mean like? Are you talking about like? Oh, you mean like our
The Reaper tab that I just showed,
Yeah, the
JR.
Reaper
Yeah.
tab.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you can.
that's right here.
The Reaper tab is great, and the first thing to ever get a Reaper tab. Well, the first person to ever get a Reaper tag was a dog. Is a dog. Is a great dog.
The bestest
You
dog.
only get the Reaper tag by doing stuff. You can't buy it.
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm asking if there's going to be an equivalent produced for the Forgotten Ruin universe, separate from the one from the Galaxy's Edge.
We're going to mail you a rip it.
I can't.
Moon
wait to
God
use
juice.
it.
Tigers.
Tigers.
There needs to be. I feel that this is remember, like Galaxy. Well, I feel that this is the year that Forgotten Ruin will begin to have the marketing plan that Galaxy's Edge has and the culture. Galaxy's Edge has such a superior culture because it's been around for 4 years and it's been carefully curated. We weren't sure that Forgotten Ruin was going to be successful. We anticipated success by investing in the audiobook at a significant cost. And we've done like I love the Skull Stacker logo. I love the Skull Stacker shirts. The next step in the Forgotten Ruin community is the game. And that, I have to talk with Walt about that because we were thinking about launching that on December 15th. But Walt says that December 15th is really bad for Kickstarters. But pretty much everything is ready to go. So we might hold that till January to heed and know wisdom, O Sumerian. That's kind of the next step in building culture. But I definitely do think that, we need to have like the levels of interaction that we have with GE. I just love the Reaper tab because you get a letter from Tyrus Rex, and you only get it by doing something for Galaxy's Edge, and so I think that's pretty cool. So it's not like we can give you a Ranger tab; that'd get your ass beat. But we'll figure out something. Like I said, hey, an engraved Rip-It would be cool, wouldn't it? Or a knife.
Well, what about a custom Rip-It flavor? Because I think I remember.
I was just about to ask about Moon God Potion being a custom Rip-It flavor because I'm pretty sure Rip-It would be all over that idea.
Let me tell you that. You make that happen, and you will get a Reaper tab.
Reaper tabs, Nick, are signed by the same person. Some of us, the early ones, got ours signed by Legion Commander Keller.
Yeah.
I wonder which one mine. I think mine's Keller.
I just checked mine. Mine was signed by Keller.
All I would say is frame that shit because, when I go on a shooting spree, that's going to be worth money.
I need more books.
Defensively, Susan Wajiki.
Yeah, mine is Keller.
Yeah, but Moon God Potion, I think that would be awesome. I think there's
a t-shirt.
A lot of really cool stuff. I love we the guy who does our hats. I've had a lot of coffee today. What's his name? Walt.
Hat guy.
The leather worker.
Ted Lehman.
Ted Lehman. Yes. Why would I ever forget Ted Lehman? He's awesome. But like I said, I've had a lot of coffee and I haven't had much to eat, so I'm kind of seeing colors right now. No, I'm hearing colors. That's what I'm doing.
Sounds like a good time
he's got some of the skull stacker hats coming with the game, and then we've got the ammo boxes. The maps are cool, but no, we do need something secret inside. And I don't know. It would be cool to kind of do something that is, well, I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble, but anyways.
Omachi, did you develop your question to a high degree of competency?
Well, you stole my question. You stole my question about the new Audible book. So I guess I'll have to go into the one on Convergence. So what was the inspiration for Masters asking, why am I here? Why am I doing this? As he's talking to the Preacher bot.
J316.
Probably Jason slamming his head into the... Yeah. Can you guys hear me? That it's breaking up a little bit.
No, we got you. You're still here.
Okay. Probably Jason slamming his head into the keyboard repeatedly, trying to... Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hello?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you. So Jason's slamming his head into the keyboard, asking, "Why am I still writing?"
Yeah, that's probably the reason. Hold on, I gotta plug my phone in.
It's a deep state trying to knock out Nick.
Yeah, they
All right, we all need to
don't
start baking files into
They don't
quotes
want
for
him
him.
asking, why am I here?
Oh, I really want. Can I have?
All right, we're gonna have to all send him like cakes with files in them.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Si, senor.
Okay, cool. Like I said, let me make that joke for the third time. Probably Jason slamming his head to the keyboard repeatedly, trying to figure out why he's here is why that was written. No, there's we try not to be too ham-handed or overt, like the chick who wrote Twilight. But
That reaction face.
The clue is in the bot's name.
That's, yeah, I caught it right away. I was like, did they just? Wow.
See, it's a lot different when you're an Audible listener that actually reading it.
No, it's just like, have you ever watched a football game?
I'm a Texas boy, so a few.
Yeah, what's the sign everybody? Well, Texas, you should get this right off the bat. Like, what's the sign everybody's holding up? So it's John 3:16. So I think like Masters is obviously hedonist, and I think every soldier has a moment in their life when they question what they're doing, and it's not always like super graphic, like, hey, I pulled my hand out of my dead friend and blah blah. What was your hand doing in your dead friend? That's the big question.
I was getting personal with him.
Yeah, you could have had that. You could have had that question like I had it on my first day in the Army when the big old lights came on at 4:30 in the morning and the trash came rolling down the aisle. Believe me, I was at what the hell am I doing here? What have I done? What have I just signed up for? So I think it's just a very soldierly moment that fatigued soldiers can have. And I think it's just something that Jason, like the bots are really weird in Galaxy's Edge. Like
G232.
Yeah, there's that one. There's D100, which is super random, fancy pants. There's the Nubarian
sort of 3PO, as I call him. G232. Sort of 3PO.
Yeah.
There's the Nubarian gunnery bot, and then there's the bot from Imperator, which are very much interestingly the same kind of homicidal bot. I wonder what that's all about. But
AI is fine. They would never be homicidal and kill people. It's okay.
And that's one of the things I love about the series is that it's not directly asked, do these bots have a soul? But everyone is asking themselves that privately. And I think you've done a really good job expressing how everyone's thinking that without actually saying it.
Oh, thank you so much. And then, like the bots know stuff that they don't tell everybody. That's been hinted at. Like remember, like Fancy Pants is one of the ones who talks about like he's interested in this thing that only the bots know about, which is what's the nature of the universe. Like who are the old ones and things like that. The bots know things, just like the dogs that Tyrus Rex now has one of. The dogs are the closest thing you're ever going to get to Jedi in Galaxy's Edge. So I know it gets a little weird, but like I said, I had a lot of coffee.
I always like that about the series
remember the bot that Tyrus Rex runs into in Chasing the Dragon that's making the weird wind chimes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The bots are freaky. They're kind of creepy.
Yeah. Ornstein, didn't you have a question that was like posted like 15 or 30 minutes ago?
Well, I almost forgot now.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've been waiting a while.
Oh, wait, no. It wasn't a question. It was...
Strain yourself.
I guess it
Think
was
hard.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, Rookie just keeps talking over you.
I'm just saying, think hard. Strain yourself.
Oh,
no, I can't hear you.
No, I can't. I might shit myself. Had a lot of coffee too. You know what happens. It wasn't a question. It was more of a comment. Just that, I like to pretend like I'm working half the time, and while I'm doing that, I'm watching stuff. And I just wanted to say that, like, I really like that you and Jason and everyone else who works on Galaxy's Edge and Forgotten Ruin, which I have not touched at all, but I will. That I appreciate the consistency, and I think a lot of stories don't do that. Where they will kind of just be like, "Hey, this happens," or "This happens," instead of like, "Okay, so this character, he's like this, so he does this in this situation, and this, and that causes this and that and everything else." So I just wanted to get that out.
That's a thing. That is a really big compliment when you consider how the series started, which was, I don't know if you've kind of, but there was a big section of fandom that was upset about Star Wars and sort of the retconning of Star Wars, and just, like everybody sat there and watched Han Solo in the the last series, and you're like, dude, I didn't realize Han Solo was a terrible divorced dad. Like it was just kind of a bummer. And so we made a vow to like be true to you guys and to be true to the series and not to do stupid shit like that or to let it fall into the hands of people who would do that for their reasons. So the story is the most important thing, and Jason's the high priest of that. Like he's the one that keeps it on the narrow because I'm more likely to turn Masters into a pathetic divorced dad or to wood chip him. And Jason is more like, well, that wouldn't happen. These things wouldn't happen. And so we have a lot of conversations, and he'll ask me about characters that are more my purvey, and he'll be like, well, what would they do in this? And I'd be like, well, Kyrus Rex would kill everybody. And he's like, oh, okay, so. But my guys are easy. They just kill everybody or get killed. But it's every once in a while. When we're really writing, like Jason and I are talking on the phone more than we're writing because we discuss everything and where it's going and what it all means. And like, there's like tons of great ideas that we've just thrown away. Like, and I'm always like, oh, we need to like once we get past the third season, we need to go back and do the Marvel version of like, what if? Like, what if this thing,
Oh God.
What if Masters were an Eskimo?
I think the.
What if it was Reyna that became Tyrus Rex and put on the Mark I armor and not? It's like get out of here.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I have a question for you, Chaos Axel. That's a little bit more business related.
Cool.
If you guys are producing,
stand by. Wait.
If you're
3, 2, 1 incoming. No one cares.
I mean, you might if it comes to your money. So for those people that want to support more directly, since you're producing the audiobooks yourself, will you be selling them on your website directly, or are they still going to have to go through Bezos?
That is the thing that, like, whenever we release an audiobook, like, I'll be like, look at how the numbers we did, I love this. And then Jason will always, like, quietly say, like, we're two, like, drug addicts. Like, like we're two, like, fiends who found their drug. Jason will always be, like, very whisper, very quietly, but what if the money was all of ours? And I'll be like, yeah, super heroin. Yeah, so the goal is that's what we were talking about with that's going to start in at the end of May. Jason's going to take on the duties of moving the subscription service into Overdrive, and the goal really is to begin to sell books straight through the subscription service and on the website, and also to offer content, and I mean significant content like books that only the insiders get.
Now, is there a way that you can develop an app that is close to Audible that allows the delineation between chapters and, play speed and stuff like that, so that way those who are used to listening to audiobooks can have the same features that they would, instead of just getting a straight up 2-hour long or a 12-hour long MP3 file that you have to like sit there and listen to, and then oh no, you missed this, you lost your spot in the thing, and now you have to sit there and spend like 30 seconds scrolling through everything and trying to find where you were.
Swordfish.
I'm sorry I have to pop the bubble, but that's just the honest to God truth. Like
when I was a kid back in the age of dinosaurs, and I mean like the TRS-80 and stuff that.
You had the cassettes.
Wait, I have one of those.
No, I didn't have shit. I had a basketball, and my parents would say, I'd say like, there's a new Apple IIe computer, and I think I'll be smarter, and I would become a writer, Dad. And my French Foreign Legionnaire dad looked at me and he goes, "You're too stupid for that." No, he didn't say that, but the look definitely communicated that. And so I would take the basketball and I'd go to my friend Mike Anderson's house, and he had the text-based Hobbit game. And I would always show up with this, and this is how I became a great actor. I'd always show up with my basketball and be like, "Hey, Mike, want to play basketball?" But of course, Mike doesn't want to play basketball because he's got an Apple IIe, and he can play computer games all night long, and I can't. And so he'd be like, "No, I'm playing The Hobbit." And I'm all, "Oh, that would be great to type yes or no to questions, or look north or look south. This is the effing future. And he would be, no. And I'd be like, well, can I watch you play your game? And he'd be like, yeah. And so for 2.5 hours, I would stand there, no chair or anything. And his family's house was dirty. And I'd be holding this basketball, just living through this 8-bit color screen, The Hobbit, in hopes that Mike's mom would say, Mike, your dinner's ready. And it would be like dark and weird out. And I'd be like, hey, could I play for like a few minutes? And then the family would go in the other room and eat. And I'd be like 30 minutes with the computer. So when you tell me of your frustrations with technology, I take you back to where I came from. And then I look at the age of wonders of even having 30 seconds to be able to find my place in an audiobook that's talking to me. And I'm like, that's the damn fucking future. I love it. Anyway,
So I have a
long
follow-up
story
question.
to say, Swordfish. I think there's a class at the Learning Annex on how to make your own app, and I'm going to take it just for you.
Oh, why? Thank you. I appreciate you going through and elevating your skills and capabilities to make something that allows us to be free from Amazon.
Okay, everybody. Full stop on Forgotten Ruin books. I'm going to make an app.
Thanks,
I have a
Swordfish.
quick follow-up question. So, was that the inspiration for Prometheus sneaking into the arcade just to go play that one game?
Bingo!
Yep. I saw that. I knew that was there.
Yeah,
So
I
real-
am Prometheus.
So real quick, Nick, since Prometheus is plugged in and knows everything, Star Fox Hero SJ from the YouTube channel is asking, he's got a pretty fun question. We all know about Article 19, but what are the other articles and how many are there?
What's his name, Star Fox?
Yeah, Star Fox.
Star Fox, is there a flat level surface nearby, and is there a raised surface in which you can elevate your feet and beat your face? This is like Captain Kirk in episode 34 when you went to the safe and the Andorians were going to steal the secret. What was the combination? I don't know. Yeah, there's other articles. I'm not going to bullshit you. There's other articles. I don't know what they are.
Oh my god.
He wants a full-on constitution written and supplied in the back of the next book, so that way we can be like, wow, this could be our constitution.
Okay,
Just
everybody.
think.
Full stop.
I'll help you write that if you want.
There's no more Forgotten Ruin books for a year. I'll be working on
Nice!
so Swordfish can scroll effortlly and listen to GE, because it means that much to me. And after I finish that, I'm not going to write any Tyrus Rex books or Savage Wars books so that I can
Nice.
make a fantasy constitution for Star Fox.
Finally!
Everybody, give Swordfish and Star Fox a big round of applause for getting no content for the
He
next
had the-
year.
He had the courage to ask what we were all thinking.
I am willing to be crucified. I don't mind.
Well, as far as like orders or articles go, I mean, you and Doc Spears were able to ad lib a whole bunch of, according to Jason, you ad libbed it. All the Kel Turner's, the Kel Turner's rules for success that
That was cool.
that I've been living my life by. Now I find out that it's just a Mad Lib. Great.
No, that's not. That's John Spears is Cal. Like that's how he lives his life. No, he
100%
really
figured that
is.
out.
Here's what a complete psycho he is, and I say that in the most loving possible way that I can. He like looked at our Legion training and he's all, this is all fucked up. This is not how it's supposed to be. And then sat down and wrote like a 32-page dissertation on the structure of the Legion and how it's organized for us. And we're like, well,
Why don't you write a book and put your money where your mouth is? And he's just like, done.
and Jason's all, and
That's
don't
awesome.
kill us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because honestly, like Kel Turner's insight, especially in those rules for success and all that, which don't sue me over this, but I screen cap those and I have them saved in a private file just to consult once in a while. Especially
When he's in his bunk time.
Yeah, bunk time. Anytime, it's like, especially the anyone worth shooting once is worth shooting a second time.
Oh yeah, yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
I go to dinner with Doc Spears, and he just says these things. Like, well, I'll be like, this potato is good, and he'll be all, anyone worth shooting once is worth shooting twice.
At least
Like,
twice.
no,
if not
he's
four
just, like,
times.
he's a Green Beret. Like, everybody has all these thoughts about Green Berets and everything like that. And some of them are true, and a lot of them are true. But what they are is they're master teachers. And so they constantly live this sort of like warrior poet philosophy stuff. And so him and I will go to the range, and like my skills like improve infinitely. And without him, I'm like, target there, blow, you know. And then when I go with him, I'm actually thinking about shooting the target, which is fun. But you should sign up for the Doc Spears Fantasy Camp weekend in Alliance, Ohio with Forge, because I think he's teaching CQB next weekend there. But he has classes you can take, and it'd be pretty cool. He's a treat. I went fishing with him.
Did
Not
he
to brag
use
or anything.
explosives?
Huh?
Did he
All
use
of that.
explosives when he went to fish?
I was gonna say
No.
all of that,
No, but-
and then I went fishing with them. Yeah, I was about to ask, did he do like a failure drill when he was at like? Did he go out in waders, just take out a Glock 19 and just do a failure drill across the lake?
No, but he hates all my weapons. You know,
Oh,
he hates my SOCOM. He hates my Glock.
What about your M1?
That's my SOCOM. He hates that. He's like, you should get a real gun. I'm all, this fucking gun will shoot you through that house, and you'll find out how fucking real it is. And but he'll give me pro tips, even though he hates them. But he'll give me pro tips on it and stuff like that. But he's a really squared away dude who really knows. I call him Gun Sensei, and whatever he says, I do.
All right, so
I call Walt Knife Sensei.
yeah, nice. And there's blades everywhere.
Imperator really Imperator is very much the origin story of Galaxy's Edge in a lot of ways. People don't read it. You know, it's kind of weird, and it's kind of like a labeling problem because it's not in the main series. But that book gives you more background on the development of the Galaxy's Edge universe, I think, than any other book. But it's a drug.
Can I please interrupt here?
Sure.
So, Imperator, I feel like it's not an offshoot. It's mandatory reading. It's like it is so important. It provides so much backstory. It's like you can't read the series and not read Imperator at least in the order that it was published. That's just dumb. So, because nothing will make sense after that. Nothing will.
Could you imagine reading the new books and then seeing Robbie talk to Ermo and be like, "Who the hell is this? Who the hell is Ermo?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the Dark Wanderer, understanding any of that stuff. You know,
you have to go back.
It just wouldn't.
You have to remember that Jason and I were getting whipped on doing anything weird. And we knew that Imperator had to be told, so we said, okay, let's write it, and then let's put it outside the canon, and then we'll just tell the audience, go here because you want to read more about what's really going on here. But really, it should come after book 4.
Yeah. I generally recommend that people read Imperator earlier than the order in which it was published.
Yeah.
I feel like it helps things make sense so that they don't have to reread the books when I'm trying to help people who are starting the series, because not everybody is a nerd like me and willing to reread or re-listen to books a bunch of times.
Can I make a suggestion for you, Boner, that could be fun for everyone? Make your suggested reading list, and we can share it in the Galaxy's Edge fan club and over on the Discord.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I've done that stupidly once or twice in comments on the Discord, and maybe I'll put some more thought into that and make it a little bit more coherent and less.
Send it to me when you send your Galaxy's Edge the musical pitch, and we'll get that all pretty and written up for you.
Yeah, I'll reframe some Tenacious D in Galaxy's Edge.
Swordfish can be your can girl.
Forgotten Ruin.
Dark, let me stop you right there. No one cares.
All right, I won't say nice things about you.
So I got a follow-up question. So do you ever you ever want to watch like a 50-hour Brandon Sanderson length book where you just go full on epic fantasy? Well, like epic sci-fi fantasy?
I do. I don't know that Jason, I think Jason's doing more lit RPG, like with his series with Jeff Chaney, which are great. And everybody should read those. Those are fun. I'm more of a pure fantasy. So if any of you want to write books or publish or anything, I'm going to just a real quick short tell you what you need to do. Once you've figured out what your deal is, don't go do something else because you're making money doing your thing. So like I started off and I was pretty successful in post-apocalyptic with The Old Man in the Wasteland. I sold like 100,000 copies. I got a trade pub deal out of that. And then post-apocalyptic fiction began to fade. And then we began to do Galaxy's Edge, which is really Space Marine. And when we first pitched Forgotten Ruin to Audible, they were like, we want a really big fantasy series. And we're like, that is the siren call that has destroyed more Space Marine authors than you can shake a book at. But you have to remember, like, most of the people that read Galaxy's Edge, you guys, you like Space Marine stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of you like fantasy stuff. And the mistake that the writer makes is, oh, because everybody loves me for this, I'm now going to go tell my English cozy murder mystery. and everybody's like, I'm here to stack bodies. and you're like, well, don't you want to read about Professor Pennyweather and the mysterious cheese? Because believe me, I'd write that shit.
Well,
no, I want to stack bodies. Like, okay. And so I like money, and the Medusa likes expensive clothes, and I like getting Thai massage and eating sushi and burgers and shit like that. So it would be a fool's errand for me to do anything but Space Marine. Now, Forgotten Ruin is Space Marine. It may be fantasy, but it's soldiers in an alien environment killing shit, which is Galaxy's Edge. So I'm slowly morphing into fantasy, which is really where I want to go, because I've always wanted to be J.R.R. Tolkien, but my bread and butter is in Galaxy's Edge.
Well, I was thinking something Space Marine, but 50 hours long.
Oh yeah, totally, totes.
Yeah, I'd listen to.
I love the big, huge books. Yeah, I mean, the Galaxy, the Strange Company, which is Space Marine, those are 150,000 books. Those punch out at 20 hours, so that's fun.
Well, but, I mean, Omachi, you're talking about, it's like, oh, I want something that's 50 hours. It's like, well, given that Nick has been helping write 11-hour books, just buy 5 books, and then you got like more than 50 hours. So it's simple math. Yeah. I'm surprised I have to explain this to an accountant, right? Do you understand me? Well, this doesn't make any sense.
It's not the same, Swordfish.
Swordfish is a fucking genius. Have you read Forgotten Ruin?
Have I?
I have.
Several times. Several times.
Well, all 5 of those, that's 50,000 words right there. There you go. It's
thank you.
Yeah.
I need more.
Bigger books. Okay, so
I need more.
Let me get this straight. I'm going to hang up here. I'm going to not work on Strange Company or Forgotten Ruin 6. I'm going to develop an app. When I finish that app, I'm not going to work on Tyrus Rex or Savage Wars or Heartswig's Heroes, which is the Hullbuster one that I want to pitch. I'm going to write a fantasy galactic constitution.
Nope. Stop.
It's going to be 50 hours long.
Then I'm going to make a 50-hour fantasy Brandon Sanderson mega epic about a hero's journey with elves and magic. And I'm going to invent an entire magic system for Amaguchi that no one else is going to buy.
No.
So
don't do
now
that.
that the 3 of you have effectively destroyed my career, who's going to come and give me a Thai massage?
Stop.
Well, Ornstein, I hear, is a good physical therapist, and I think he could really work on those muscle groups in an effective manner.
Well, get naked from the waist down,
help
buddy,
people.
because
I hurt
it's
them
about
when they
to
get
get on.
And on that note, I'm exercising my finger to hit the end broadcast button. Thanks to everybody who came out. Nick, oh my God, dude, we had so many people watching this thing. It was crazy. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm flattered.
And we'll catch you next time on the Galaxy's Edge podcast.
Thank you guys
forward.
all for